Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Crusader Kings III as we are playing as Adam II, King of England. So if you guys recall in the beginning of the last episode, for about a good solid 10 minutes, we discussed regencies, how they typically worked, and so I talked about that for about 10 minutes. If you're ever wanting to skip those discussions, whether they're about history or I'm explaining my logic for why I made a certain decision, if you ever want to skip those, I typically remember to put a timestamp in a pinned comment that allow you to skip to the beginning of the gameplay in the episode. And I'll try to remember to do that in this episode as well, because we are going to have a little bit of discussion once again about regions. And the reason for that is I wanted to provide some examples of good regions during this time, because I actually had somebody who posted a comment, and it wasn't directed at me, it was directed to anybody who could potentially provide an example of a regent that didn't abuse their power. He wanted one that was specifically in the Middle Ages and that wasn't a queen mother. And so I wanted to provide a couple of examples of characters I would say were pretty good regents during this time. However, before I do want to clarify something, because I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding with that comment as well as one or two other ones. We're not saying that when you say good regent, you're not saying a regent that doesn't do things, doesn't use their position, for their own gain. That's normal. That's completely normal. Nobody served just for, maybe some people did, but for the most part, people don't serve in these roles just as an act of charity. They performed whatever role they did, whether it's the regent or they, work in the council of the king. Whatever position they have, whether it's chancellor or steward or whatever, working as a marshal, they did it for their own benefit as well as for their out of duty. There was always the desire to benefit from these extra titles. That's the reason why people wanted them, why they tried to get the favor of the king to get these titles, because they benefited you. It's no different than politics today. If you think politicians today are doing the things they do out of the goodness out of their heart and because they care about America and want or care about their country or whatever, because this isn't just an American thing. But even politicians today, they are doing things that benefit themselves. That's the key to any politician of any time, whether it's nobles here in the Middle Ages or modern politicians today. It's very much about doing things that benefit yourself. So when we talk about a good regent, we're not talking about somebody who doesn't use their power to advance their own interest. We're talking about a person who doesn't use their power to advance their own interest over the interest of the king. Because a good, loyal vassal, a good, loyal servant of the king, a good, loyal member of the council, what loyalty is that you're acting in the best interest of the king. Now, if that also coincides with your best interest, well, I think that's the optimum choice for any noble in these positions, or non-noble. Anybody in these positions, I think that's the best case scenario. A disloyal counselor, disloyal vassal, somebody who acts against the interest of the king for their own interest. And that's what we were talking about when we talk about like Henry VI and we talk about his, the people who served for his regency, which he had several people who served under his regency. When we talk about those poor regencies, they're often doing things that are not in the best interest of the king. That's where the whole discussion started, where we talked about nobles, regents, that were directly trying to weaken the king and trying to create a terrible king, nobles that were trying to steal from the king. There's a difference there, and so that needs to be noted, because I think that there was a little bit of confusion there. Nobody's saying that they don't use their power to advance their own interests. For sure, they did. Everybody did. There's very few people who don't do that. People are, for the most part, pretty selfish. So I would say that that's normal. It's normal politics now. It's normal politics then. The ideal here again is that they're not trying to hurt the king. They're in fact, a good regent is advancing the best interest of the king, regardless of whether that coincides with their own interest. So that's the key there. If they sell a patch of land that the king asked them to sell, and then they sell it to a friend of theirs, and they choose that friend instead of somebody else, then that's not hurting the king, unless they sell it to the friend for a cheaper cost. So that's the difference. A loyal minister, a loyal counselor is going to sell that land as he's supposed to, and he's not going to hurt the king when he does that. He's not going to sell it for cheaper. He's going to sell it for what it's worth, But that doesn't mean he can't sell it to his friend or even to himself. He can do something that benefits him. He can sell it to somebody and require that they do something for him in return. Hey, I'll sell this land to you instead of somebody else. A king wants this land sold, and I'll sell it to you if you do this, for me. So that should be specified before I go into these examples here. But these are all examples I think that were very loyal regents, and I think did a very good job. So I figured we'd keep these examples within England, since we are playing as England. And there's not a lot of English regents to use as an example during the Middle Ages. You got to remember that for half of the Middle Ages, there was no England. That happened in the High Middle Ages. The early Middle Ages, there wasn't really a kingdom of England per se. It kind of started to be established. The idea of like the king of the Saxons, a king of the Angles, a king of England, certainly had been kind of developed in the early Middle Ages, but there wasn't truly a king of England at the time. So for half of the Middle Ages, there were no kings of England, so therefore that kind of limits it a little bit. And then for the second half of the Middle Ages, there was really only a couple regencies. There weren't a lot of regencies during that period, but there were a few. So Henry III had a pretty long regency. His first regent was William of Pembroke, Earl of Pembroke. So that's not here in the game. I don't think it's named that anyways, but I think that it's right here in Western Wales, as far as I know. I don't know the exact location here, but it's somewhere around here. So that was the Earl of Pembroke, William. He was the regent for Henry III for the first 3 years of his reign. So I think that's 1216 is when he became king. So till 1219 would be when he eventually died, so he's no longer the regent. Now, I feel that he's a perfect example of a loyal vassal, a loyal counselor. So this was not the first time that William was appointed as a regent. He was actually appointed as the regent of Henry the Young King, which is Henry II's eldest son, who he would make his co-king, his co-ruler. So it's one of the few examples of where there were co-rulers in English history. I think there's one or two other examples as well, but the point is Henry II made his son Henry, who's again called the Young King typically, made him his co-king, but he was still underage. He was still quite young, and so he needed a regent to kind of help him in that role as a co-ruler. Now, again, he was a co-ruler, so Henry II still had ultimate power, but because he was a king, technically, he did need a regent, and William was appointed as his regent, and he served as regent for quite a while until Henry the Young King died. He eventually, unfortunately, died before his father, Henry II, did. But he's known during that time for being extremely loyal to the Young King. He even took place in his rebellions, and that's really all we know about him, actually, from that period, about William of Pembroke, is that he was just very, very loyal to the Young King. And that loyalty eventually resulted in him being appointed to be the regent of Henry III, because he wasn't just loyal to Henry the Young King, he was also quite loyal to John. As many of you guys probably know, John's reign was quite rough. He had a lot of rebellions. Obviously, that's Magna Carta and the Rebellion of the Barons. And William was one of the few nobles who stayed loyal to John. Now, they did have a falling out. They had some issues over some negotiations with France, and John became very angry with him for a time. And so they did have a falling out, but even then, he still did not rebel against John. And so when John died, and Henry III became king, William was the natural pick after his loyalty to Henry the Young King, and then his loyalty to John, not rebelling against him with the other nobles. He was the natural pick to be the regent, and he served as regent very, very good. He did a good job for 3 years. He fought in Henry III's wars. I say Henry III's wars, but they weren't really his wars. He was a child. But the wars that England was fighting, and, of course, Henry was the king, so therefore they're considered his wars, regardless of his age or if he started them. And he fought his wars, and he sought to increase Henry's power. He sought to increase his authority, and he did a good job serving as regent. He never did anything selfish that we know of. He never did anything to advance his own power that we know of. So I would say he's probably one of the best examples of a regent who was extremely loyal to everybody he served, whether it's the young king, where he was his first time as regent, or as Henry III. Of course, he was a very old man by the time that he became the regent for Henry III, so he unfortunately died after only 3 years of serving as the regent. When William died, Henry was still very young, so they needed to appoint a new regent, and they appointed Hubert of Kent in the county here. He was Earl of Kent. We have absolutely no evidence to support the idea that Hubert didn't do a good job during his time as regent, or that he did anything that was against the king's best interest. So he did a very good job as regent. Now, I should say that Hubert would eventually get in trouble later, this is almost 10 years after his regency ended. So Henry's minority was already over, which Hubert did serve until the end of his minority. But yeah, his minority had already been over for a long time, almost a decade, and he did get in trouble for an abuse of power where he arranged a marriage for his daughter with a young earl who was in his minority, so therefore any young vassals that were in a minority were typically considered like wards of the king. And in order to arrange a marriage with a ward of a king, or a betrothal in this particular case, you would have to have permission from the king, and he didn't get permission from Henry III before he did this, and so he was criticized quite a bit for it, and he got a little bit of trouble for it. But again, this was after his time as regent, and again, I don't know that that's truly a abuse of power, just not asking the king for permission to do something. But again, it's not a perfect example of loyalty for sure. But that was after his regency, so I would say that doesn't count. So those were the two regents of Henry III, which I think are perfect examples. Another example, and again, we don't have a whole lot of regencies in England, so just the fact that that's two right there. And personally, I can think of another example, and that would be the Regency Council of Richard II. Now, those of you who know the history of Richard II some of you may dispute this and say, oh, that's a terrible pick, considering that the Regency Council was known for being incredibly corrupt. They passed a bunch of taxes that the House of Commons did not approve. They were very extreme taxes. They were pretty high. So again, some people may say that this is not a good example, but hear me out, guys. I have an argument here. So when they were appointing the council, when parliaments and the leading nobles were determining who was going to be on the Regency Council, John of Gaunt, who was the Duke of Lancaster at the time, up here. So he was the Duke up here. And I think this is a duchy. Yeah, here's the duchy here. And I think that's pronounced Lancaster, but again, this is in England, so I could be completely wrong on the pronunciation there. But the Duke, John, and that's one I think most people have heard of before. He was a very ambitious character, a very ambitious person. Nobody trusted that he would make a good regent. And so him and his brother, so the two uncles of Richard II, were not appointed to the Regency Council. In fact, they were specifically kept off the Regency Council by name. They were determined that they would not be on the Regency Council because they didn't trust them. So this shows one important thing, that people of the time knew that the position of a regent was open to abuse. They knew that, and they tried to avoid it. They weren't stupid. They knew that that was a very powerful position, and thus you needed to make sure that somebody trustworthy was in that position. So therefore, they did not allow the uncles to be on Richard II's council. So here's my argument. Obviously that's one matter that just kind of proves, I think, that at the time, the contemporaries were aware of the threat that a regent could be, and that they could use that power for their own gain. But in addition to that, the council, I think, is a good example of one that wasn't going against the wishes of the king. Now, they may have been incredibly corrupt. There's no doubt about that. They were definitely corrupt. But I would argue that they were serving in the interest of the king, or at least in the what the king wanted. He very early kind of gained control of his Regency Council, where he was able to appoint members to it and remove members from it as he willed, as a young king. And so all those members were all like his favorites. And yes, they were extremely corrupt, but those taxes that they passed, they did that at the permission of the king. He signed the paperwork. Even if it was their plan to do so, to get that money, he signed it, and he benefited from it. Most of those taxes went to him initially. They didn't go to the favorites. They didn't go to the council. They went to the king. And then from there, he used it and spent it on his favorites. But that was his choice. He was a terrible king. I think this is an example of not a regency council that is going against the best interest of the king. This is an example of a regency council doing what the king wanted, and then you had a terrible young child king that probably shouldn't have had that much power and authority. Again, Richard II is an example of a terrible king. So I feel like that's an example of a regency council that was doing exactly what they were told to do. They were doing exactly what Richard wanted them to do. He was a terrible king. So those are the examples I would lay out for England specifically. There's a little bit more examples in other locations for the Middle Ages, because again, England, for half the Middle Ages, there wasn't a kingdom of England, and then for the other half, they didn't have that many regencies. I would say that that was the norm, guys. That was the norm. That regency council served in the interest of the king. So again, I just don't think it's very accurate to take the rare examples in history of a regent abusing his power for his own gain and weakening the king and just completely neglecting what's in the best interest of the kingdom and his king and being a disloyal vassal. I think that that's something that happened, but it was rare. It wasn't the common occurrence. So I talked about that a bit longer than I had planned to. I'll try and cut it down a little bit, so there'll be some cuts there. I'll try and cut it down so I don't talk for as long about it. But yeah, it is a little bit longer. But I did want to talk about history a little bit, because we haven't had history much in these videos for a while, because of again, we talked about that in a couple videos ago, because all the historical characters are dead, and I like having history in these CK series that we do. But let's go and get started with the actual gameplay. We have a few things that we need to do. So the first one is that I never picked a fascination after we got, which one did we get? We got guilds. We increased our domain limit by +1, and I never picked a fascination after that. So we're gonna go ahead and pick one, guys. See what, we can't. We are not the cultural head. That's right, because we're a child. Sometimes the children are the cultural heads, but most of the time they're not. I'm not entirely sure why it's not all the time, but we should gain control of this again once we come of age, which will be very, very soon. He's currently working on this one here, which is good because it gets you some buildings. Probably wouldn't be my initial choice, though. I'm not sure which one we best. I'd have to go through them, but I'm thinking probably something that has to do with men-at-arms might be the best one for us. We do need more buildings, of course. That's always helpful, but I really think we might go for this one. A lot of good choices. We're gonna go for the trebuchets as well, so we can siege down, any forts quicker. And there's knighthood, which is also a pretty decent one to get too, increasing your knight effectiveness. So a lot of options. I suppose that he didn't pick a bad one, though. Jeffrey picked a decent one. So yeah, we can't change that. I didn't realize that we weren't the head of culture. Well, that's unfortunate. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and deal with our prisoners, or at least deal with a few of them. So we have all these Muslim prisoners that we had gotten from the Crusade. We can't ransom many of them. We're not going to get anything but a favor. Now we could force them to convert. I don't really see the point of forcing just random characters to convert, though. So I think what we might use these for instead is for dread gain. I think it's fitting of our character. Yeah, we're kind of designing him to be a little bit more pious than some of our previous characters. Not so much because he is a pious person, but more like a Crusader King type of thing. I think that's kind of interesting, where he's arbitrary and arrogant, but at the same time he also has this image of what a good Christian knight is, and living up to that at the same time as going directly against everything that he should do as a Christian. An example of a hypocrite, essentially. And so I feel like he would be willing to do this, both because of his traits and because he's a more brutal style of Crusader, and I think he'd be willing to execute them for the dread, to put some fear in his enemies. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to execute a few of these to increase our dread. And this is, again, if you don't have a good reason to explain it, it's kind of a gamey tactic, honestly, just a bit. Because you're just increasing dread because there's no penalty, essentially, because they're a different religion. So we're not taking the piety hit. So we're going to go and execute them because we couldn't get any money from them. And we can't get money from this character either, so there's really no reason to keep him around. If we could release them for a favor or something, but for the most part, we'll never act on that. So yeah, they're just an easy way to get some dread, and I think it's fitting for our character. I don't think it goes outside the realm of what he would be willing to do. So now our dread is at 82, and so just about all of our vassals should be absolutely terrified of us at this point. If we were to look at the current factions, yeah, you can see that many of them are at least intimidated, if not completely terrified. So many of these members are going to be leaving the faction. Yeah, the intimidated ones probably not, but the terrified ones will leave. So if we look here, yeah, same thing. So both of these factions now should completely dissipate. We shouldn't have any problems with them any longer because of our very high dread. But we still have these prisoners to deal with, and I feel like we're gonna wait to deal with them. We're gonna wait to deal with them until after we come of age, because again, those are the rebellious lords that we have. And also the final thing I'd like to mention is that with this marriage here, I was thinking that we were going to get control of all this territory, but that is not the case. She is not set to inherit both of his duchies. The petty kingdom thing always throws me off because I think it's a kingdom and it's not. It's a duchy title. She's only inheriting this one here, guys. So she'll only have one county directly under her control, and then she gets a couple more counties that will have, have the vassals here. So she's only getting that one duchy. The oldest son of this petty king here, he'll be getting the other petty kingdom title, which is this one here. So unfortunately, we're not getting anywhere near as much as I thought. And also, she's only getting one earldom. Well, I think he's not getting any. So that would be weird, because yeah, he's going to be a duke without any counties. And I don't think anybody else is getting any titles. Oh, nope. He's getting this earldom here of Dublin. And that is all. Okay. So yeah, we're not going to get as much as I thought. So I wanted to point that out, that we're just unfortunately not going to get much there. Let's go ahead and spend our money, guys. We got a ton of money to spend now that we got from the Crusades. We got money, we got prestige, we have piety, we have everything. So again, we're not going to declare any wars until he comes of age, but we can go ahead and build some stuff. And I want to say we have several things that we might want to construct here. This is where we want to build. We'll go ahead and upgrade that. We also have an open building slot here, and we have something we can upgrade here. Now this one is just going to get us more levies, but we'll take it. There's also some bonuses there. They're going to go to our troops. So we'll go ahead and take that. That's really not that much of our money, so we can go ahead and construct something else here. Now, as far as what we might want to get, just kind of looking at what we have here, looks like we have a lot of stuff that's giving us money, but not much that's giving us levies. So I think we're gonna go ahead and go for something that's gonna grant levies. So probably the military camps or the barracks. Probably the barracks, I think. Though we do have the barracks over here, so if we wanted to spread it out a little bit, yeah, I think we have the barracks over here. So if we wanted to spread it out, so we got the bonuses to the archers and skirmishers, then we should get this one. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Let's get this one so we get some archer skirmisher bonuses. And I think it's fitting over here next to Wells that we'd have something giving us bonuses to archers, because Welsh archers they're very good longbowmen for a time. So again, we can't do much until he comes of age, which should be very, very soon. We have about a year and a half away, so we should definitely see that this episode. And yeah, factions are now disbanding. They cannot keep their power up. We do have the one faction here which wants to take our throne, and the Knights Templar has been established. Interesting. Here in Italy. Okay, so the Knights Templar will be based in Italy, so they can now be hired. You can pop in here and take a look at them. And so they can be hired anytime that you are fighting against somebody. They're not available right now, though. Might already be hired by somebody. Or maybe because they just popped up. But remember, they can be hired by anybody who's fighting against somebody of a different religion. So as long as you're Catholic. Maturing feelings. I remember fondly all the good times I shared with Adriana when we were younger. Even if she now has entered the world of adults, she will always be dear to me, even though she never did return my feelings. So we won't have a crush on her any longer. She is betrothed now. But we could always act. There's always some things we could do. We could always pin her first of all. She'll be up here. I typically don't do that, though. Don't typically pin many characters over here. I don't really use the outliner very much. But in this case, maybe we want to. Now, she is going to move off to his lands. Oh, he's a giant. We got some competition here. But yeah, we've always had this crush on her. Does the crush just go away? I mean, just because we're 15? I don't know that it does. So I think in this case, we will go ahead and pin her up there. Just so I remember, because I'm going to forget, guys. I'm going to forget all about her otherwise. And I was thinking maybe we could try romancing her. Given we'll, of course, be married at the time, because our betrothed is older than us. So we will get married the moment we turn 16, as soon as we come of age. We still got money to spend, so we do need to spend that. I'm thinking about maybe getting another holding here. Oh, Duke William died. All right, interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at our council. I actually was thinking about making some adjustments to our council anyways. So let's see who the powerful nobles are. So we have the Duke here, and he would be okay at diplomacy, I suppose. I suppose we'll appoint him. There's also a Duke Geoffrey, and he is of our dynasty as well. So we could appoint him, and I suppose he's pretty decent at diplomacy. A little bit worse than the Duke here, so not quite as good. We do have an open position here, but man, neither one of these are good at stewardship. Let's just take a look at the current characters. Remember, this guy's garbage at stewardship too. I mean, just overall, all of them are kind of cruddy. And none of them even like us. I'm starting to come more and more like against our nobles here, because yeah, they're all so cruddy. We'll sign this guy for right now. We are getting to them to the point where many of them are either intimidated by us or terrified, and he wants to be ransomed off. We're going to decline, because again, we're not going to do anything with those prisoners until after we come of age. So again, we could spend the money. Could always build like a new holding. That'd be an option. Could also just go ahead and build something here, and I guess that's what we'll do. I don't remember what we got the first time. We got something for taxes. Let's get something for some levies this time, and I think we'll go with the barracks. There are the regimental grounds. That gives them some very nice bonuses as well. I suppose we don't have one of those, so you know what? We'll do the regimental grounds. This also improves the county in several ways, increasing the levy size and the control growth factor. So, yeah, I guess we'll go for that one. Yeah, we'll do the regimental grounds. Get that constructed. That'll be overall helpful for the whole county. And we have gotten better. Excellent. So my old self, as I woke this morning, I saw rays of sunshine falling through my window. It took me a moment to realize I had slept soundly for the first time in weeks. I did not wake up confident once. So we've lost the ill trait. That is excellent. And apparently we have another open council position. I'm guessing he died, perhaps? Yeah, he must have died. All right, so I was going to appoint somebody else to the stewardship position. The Duchess is pretty darn good at this position. She's our cousin as well, and she would be a great choice, and she's a vassal. I think we might pick her over Duke Geoffrey. I know he wants to be appointed somewhere, but man, all these vassals need to step their game up. They're cruddy. They're just not very good. Alright, so no more lessons. They brought me the news as we lost Duke Arnauld. Okay. So he's dead too. So essentially all of the old vassals are dying, and their sons are taking over, just as our characters taking over his realm. So he's passed away, so now we have to find a new tutor, and we got to do this before we come of age, or else we'll be marked as not having a tutor, I think. So we got to find somebody else to educate us. And I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we don't have anybody in here. I guess we could do another vassal again. I mean, let's just take a look, see if there's anybody in here that makes is a good choice. We do have our court physician, which he has decent stats here, but it'd probably be better to do a vassal, and I think we've already agreed that makes the most sense that we do vassals. So let's find a vassal who both has the skill and the power. Now this guy's in prison, so we're obviously not going to ask him, but he would be the best choice, frankly. But he's locked up, so he's not an option. Could do the Duke Geoffrey, but he hates us. We'd have to put him on the council if we were going to do him. I don't think he'd be a good fit otherwise. But he's okay. I'd prefer to somebody that had a better stewardship. This Duke here, but he hates us because we have... oh yeah, you know what? We can do something with that. Okay, let me do something real quick, guys. So one of the reasons why this character hates us so much is because we're holding two earldoms that he wants. We're holding the vassal of those, which is this character here. He actually has both of those earldoms. And this guy hates us. He's been working in factions against us. He's our marshal, but he's a cruddy marshal. We only appointed him there because he's a powerful vassal. So you know what? It would be a very good choice. We would lose a good knight, or a decent knight, I should say. A decent knight. He has 11 prowess, so he's okay. So we could get rid of this problematic vassal by handing him off to the Duke here. And this would also appease him because he's angry that we have those titles. So let's go and grant this vassal to him, which is this guy right here. Again, a problematic character. So it'll improve his opinion of us, and he's also not going to have those hits. So we can actually get this character, this very powerful duke with, remember he has 3 duchies. These lands still haven't been separated yet. So yeah, we could further improve his relation by giving him a position on our council now, which we just got rid of. We lost the marshal, we lost the spy master. So yeah, we need to find, well, now have new powerful vassals. We have 3 new ones here. And let's see which we should appoint to where. So the Earl Aubrey, he's the Earl of Bedford. Remember, it's his family that is over there in Syria, the Queen of Syria. He would be a good pick to train us, I think. Yeah, to educate us, and then we can also put him here as, I'm not sure, we'd put him maybe Chancellor, perhaps. Looking at other characters, this Duke here would make a decent pick for stewardship. We'd have to fire the Duchess, which is unfortunate, but I'm really trying to make this guy like us because he's so powerful. So I think we'll make him the steward, and then make the Earl Aubrey, or Aubrey, the Chancellor. But then that leaves this Duke here. We still need a Marshal and a Spy Master. What about her? Is she good at either of those? No, she's garbage at both. And I don't think, and nobody's good at being a Spy Master. Why are our people so terrible at intrigue? It's probably a good thing for us as king, though they're not acting against us. But yeah, we need to find somebody here. We might just have to appoint just a random person, because this is terrible. Their intrigue is just, yeah, that won't work. So we'll be able to appoint all of these, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just not going to work. Because, yeah, they're just too bad at intrigue. As far as Marshal, I guess, yeah, he's the best at Marshal, and we already decided he's going to be the steward. So, yeah, there's nobody good at being a Marshal either. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, I think we might just have to piss this guy off. How many titles does he have? He's a Duke. Well, this guy's only an Earl. How many titles does he have? He has just 2. So we won't go for the 2 extra diplomacy points. We'll leave this guy in place. And what about her? Can she do anything else? No, so we're going to have to fire her. No point on having a non-powerful vassal in a position that they're not good at. So we're going to place him. And then with the Marshal and the Spy Master, we're just going to have to put somebody in place who's good. We could do the new Duke of Mercia. I'm actually surprised that he's not a powerful vassal. I think we're going to do him. Let's make friends with him. Or try to, anyway. And then we need a Spy Master. Should probably put somebody in place that kind of likes us. There's the Duke of Normandy, the new Duke of Normandy. He's pretty good. Also surprised that he's not a powerful vassal. Let's put him in place. I know this guy's a little bit better, but yeah, let's do this guy. I know he doesn't like us. We're going to have to work to get him all improved. None of them fear us either, so that's definitely a concern. Oh, and yes, I was going to also invite new knights. I guess we got a war we have to deal with first, though. Oh, okay, so who is he at war with? Let's just take a look. Is he at war with Scotland? That's the way it seems. Yeah, he's fighting against Scotland. He is the attacker, though. But the question is, what's the claim for? So this is for the earldom right here. It's right on his borders there. And remember, he is attacking. The question is, how many troops does he have compared to the Scottish king? He has more, but he's also going to be fighting Norway, so he's in trouble. So we should probably help him. I don't see any reason not to. Again, we're not going to declare war on our own, but we will support our allies. Let me take a look and see if we have a faction they might have to worry about. They're too weak at this point, so we don't have to worry about them, so that's good. And I almost want to throw a gift at this guy to just improve his relations even more, maybe get him out of this faction. Let's try that, guys, because this is one of the few ways that we can improve his opinion. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Throw him 150 gold. It's not going to improve his opinion by much, but it'll help. I'm hoping he'll get out of that faction. Now, of course, now we have to go through this way to join his conflict. So yeah, we'll go ahead and offer to join the war, and we'll help him out. Alright, so let's go ahead and move our rally points. I don't even know where our rally point is right now. And we got a big old war happening over here in Normandy. Where the hell is our rally point? Do we not have a rally point? Did I move it somewhere weird? You know what? I did. I moved it down here for the crusade, didn't I? So let's go to move it up a little bit closer. And let's raise our armies up. Alright, so I don't know what we have as far as marshals go. Probably not any good commanders. Seems this level 17 guy is our best one right now. And he's not great. He's a reaver. We could instead go with the aggressive attacker, which we will. Duke Gerard II of Mercia. So he's going to command him. He's also our marshal, so I think it's fitting. And let's go ahead and get his army designed. As usual, of course. We'll be doing the same sort of design as I typically do. And pull out some of these ones that need replacements here still. Where's that one, the special one, which we still have 18 dudes in? Feels like we're going to have that one until all those 18 dudes die. Because remember, they don't reinforce. Alright, so let's go ahead and move. Where do we want to do? How do we want to do this? So we want to fight them, their army. We might have to help out here. We'll see what happens. Let's just go ahead and move here for now. And then the siege army, we are going to get this guy that Earl Henry appointed, since he's a military engineer. Actually, no, let's take that back. Let's do the Mayor John and split this in half. And then Earl Henry can lead this one. Looks like he's already leading. All right, fantastic. Okay, so let's go and start taking their stuff. I assume that he's going to take that, so we won't do that right now. Besides, we'd have to cross the sea or go across the strait, which would result in us taking attrition. So instead, you know what, let's take all the counties that lead to that strait. Yeah, that's how we'll do this. So where do we want to put each one? We have a level 3 and a level 2 there. Okay. So he will go to the level 3. Nope, that's the wrong one. He's going to go to this one right here. And then this guy will go to this one. And then we'll have to bring our guy up kind of close here where he doesn't take attrition so that he can support those two armies in case they are attacked, as usual. Sabella is a lot of fun to be around. She usually demands a lot of attention, but I do not mind. Every time I see her, my day is made better. So now we have a crush on Sabella. Apparently we get crushes quite quickly. So let's go ahead and mark her as well. We're marking all of our crushes, guys. They're all soon to come of age or already of age. We still have those prisoners again. We're not going to deal with them yet. Take our time. So we'll have to see if Norway brings troops or not to support their ally here. And our nephew is now our newborn nephew is now our heir. Excuse me. So who is his father? Oh, this is Princess Jones. Oh, okay. So remember, she went to Italy and married the heir to the Duchy of Verona, Lombardy, Corsica, and various other titles. He hasn't succeeded to those titles yet, but remember, this was a matrilineal marriage, so all the children will be of our dynasty. Yeah, it looks like I wonder where he's getting all those titles from, because it's clearly not from his father. Maybe brothers, perhaps. No, I'm not entirely sure where he's getting all those titles, but yeah, he's set to inherit all those titles. And they had a child, and that would be quite interesting if we end up becoming him, because then we inherit all of his titles too, and we become a vast landowner in Italy. Yeah, that'd be very, very interesting, in fact. Yeah, we would extend our control over Italy by quite a bit. I mean, so we'll just have to see what happens. Oh, we have empty counselor positions. Another spymaster die or something? I don't know how that happened. Okay, we had the Normandy branch of our dynasty. Did he get replaced? Yeah, it's now Duke Thomas. It looks like William lost his position because of that rebellion that we saw happening down here. So he's been replaced by his son. And so, yeah, we got Duke Thomas. of Normandy 2 years old. So now we have to find somebody else, unfortunately, to be our spy master. So again, we'll probably just have to do it based on their rankings, and yeah, not really seeing a lot of options. So we'll probably just go with the Earl Frank here. He's older, so you know, it doesn't matter if we have to replace him. You know, because he'll be dead soon, so he won't be able to hold that grudge for very long. There's just no other options, man. These guys are terrible. Like, it just seems like everybody focuses on diplomacy in England here. So we did finish up the siege here. Yeah, because we got plenty of people to be our chancellor. Very good options overall. So we need to do this one next. And I assume we will have this army do it. Now might take attrition when they move over there. What happened? Okay, so this is of course a knight that we can hire. This character here. He's more a marshal that we can hire. He might actually make a good position. A good what's going on with this character? Oh, he lost his arm. Okay, I see. So yeah, we can go ahead and accept him. He's not as good as our current marshal. I don't know what we'd even use him for, but he's free, so we'll take him. Fellow servants of the Lord, as our order of the Knights Templar grow, we need more land from which to organize our defense of the Catholic faith. The city of, I don't know how to pronounce that. Wrexham? You guys know I'm butchering that. I shouldn't even have attempted. That was embarrassing. So it's perfectly suited to our purpose, and we wish to lease it into service for our cause. So we can lease that out to him, and we'll gain 583 gold. So yeah, let's see where this is at, because I don't even know. Should be able to mark it here. So it's right here. So it's not even under our control. Yeah, this is under the Duchess Cecilia, our cousin. So there's really no reason not to grant it to him. Yeah, we'll take the money. So yeah, that'll now become theirs. Okay. So that gained us a ton of money that we can utilize. But again, I kind of feel like, I mean, we're gonna invite knights, so I wanted to do that. I forgot I wanted to do that early in the video, so we'll do that first. I'm a little bit hesitant to spend too much money, again, because I mean, we're building in these lands. I'm okay with that. But I'm kind of waiting until we become of age before we do certain things. I suppose we can continue building, constructing these, because they do take a while. So maybe getting like a trade port here would be a good option. Makes pretty good money, 1.7. Of course, the most money is going to be earned from doing the farms and fields. What do we have here? We have the homesteads, earning us money and levies, kind of splitting that up. Maybe we should go with the walls and towers then. Yeah, so we have at least, you know, some defenses up here. This is where all of our wars have primarily been, so it's good to have a good defensive location that will take a while for the enemy to siege down. So we did finish up a siege, and we just got a knight arrived, so let's see if he'd make a good fit. He's okay. Yeah, we're recruiting a court. He's not fantastic, but he's better than some of the knights we have. We captured a duchess here. Okay. So we finished up this siege right here. I guess we'll go out to the capital now. I should have went for that first. How large is the capital? Because this is going to take a while. And it's level 4. How long? They're going to be done in 2 months. It's probably better to have somebody else do this. We have our allies sieging that down now. So yeah, let's just go over here. We'll siege down this one. This one's level 3, so it's even going to take a while. But yeah, we'll have these guys do it just because they're going to be a lot faster. I'm not seeing any enemies right now. We're at 50% towards winning this war, so it should be over soon. I don't think this will directly benefit us. We probably won't get that county. We're at 68%, and of course I mean when our, when we become our heir, of course if we have a child with her. I don't think she'll get that county, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's definitely not part of the petty kingdom here. It's its own duchy, so probably not going to get it, guys. I'll probably go to one of his other kids, actually. So we did finish the siege here. Let's now go after the capital, and this should be the end of the conflict. These 2 sieges here should be enough. Could have done another siege with this army. I was kind of expecting for an army to come, so I wanted to keep them mobile, but we already lost that counselor who was our spy master. He's already dead. This is one of the negatives of appointing somebody really old, is that stress might just be enough to do them in. So again, yeah, I just don't think we'll appoint any of them. I don't think they're good fits. So let's go and appoint the mayor here. I think he'd be a good choice. Level 19. So we're getting decent spy masters. Of course, can't do anything with them just yet. And what did they take? Did they? Oh, they won a siege there. And now they have to flee here. Yeah, they took their capital, so that's kind of big. So we have come of age, finally, here in December. And I think I just realized I might have forgotten to give us a new tutor, didn't I? I remember I was doing it, and then I might have got distracted doing other things, and then never gave myself a tutor. Yeah, that might have happened. I don't know. If it did, it didn't turn out too bad, because we did get the fortune builder, it seems, which is level 3. But we might have been able to do even better if we had a tutor. I don't remember if I found a second one, or that would be a third tutor, huh? I don't recall. When I edit the video, I'm sure I'll notice whether or not we found another tutor. But we did good, so that's what's desirable here. So I have completed my studies of stewardship. Even if the highest aspects of the subject eludes me, I did fairly great. As I take my first steps into adulthood, I find myself reminiscing about some of the people who have made an impact on the man I have become. I had some memorable times with Sibylla. She truly helped me understand both myself and love. The things that the Duke Samunder put me through as a child still weigh heavy on me, and every time I see him, my mood is sure to turn sour. So we did get a plus 20 opinion with her, and a negative 10 opinion with him. Lost the curious trait, and we've got an event about a puppy, so I feel like that has to be dealt with before we deal with what I was going to do. Let's take a look at the situation here. I am playing with Cataldo, that's how we'll pronounce that. When I hear it, it is a tiny sound, frail and scared. I look all over, under every stone, around every corner, behind every bush, and finally I find it, a small puppy, all alone, that sits between two stones. So we can say, it's my puppy now. And then we get a pet dog, which is going to increase our diplomacy and our prowess. Or we can give it to our friend. I didn't know we had a friend. Okay, let me just take a look at our character. I'm curious. Our relationships. Now, we don't have any friends here. Oh, he becomes our friend. Okay, my bad. So we can make this character our friend. He's the son of the Countess here of Sussex. Okay, isn't it her daughter that we were interested in? Yeah. The first one, anyway, that we had a crush on. Now, I don't know if that'll still apply. Yeah, we didn't get an opinion bonus with her because she came of age too quickly. And I guess it's saying that we got over her. So, yeah, she is of our dynasty. Is she like a cousin or something like that? She's the daughter of our cousin. Okay, so, yeah. We had a little bit of a crush on her, so we could attempt to romance her still, even though she is of our dynasty. I suppose that's not stopping us, but I think we might end up trying to romance her too. But yeah, the point is that she is the daughter. So this is her brother that we gave the dog to, but we're not going to do that. It's my puppy now, of course. Why would we ever give the puppy to anybody else? I mean, we're not exactly a selfish character, but yeah, I mean, it's my puppy now. So we got a pet dog now, guys. That's what's important. That's what you need to know. Increasing our diplomacy and our prowess, because everybody likes dogs. And people like us more because we have a dog. And I guess it increases your prowess because maybe it defends you. Either that or because you're wrestling with it all the time. I assume it's because it's defending you. But yeah, this is King Adam II. This is what he looks like. 16 years old. And now that we're of age, we can start doing a lot of different things. So let's go and get this knight hired who, yeah, he's damn good. Yeah, he's a great fit. Let's recruit him to court. I'll pay him whatever he wants. He could ask for more. He didn't even know. The ball was in his court there. So we can get married. We have to choose a lifestyle. Let's go ahead and do the marriage first. Remember, we're getting very good prestige marrying into this dynasty. That's one of the nice advantages of it. She is unfortunately gluttonous. Yeah, she likes her food. She's calm. She's forgiving. And she's an adequate bargainer. She has very good diplomacy, which we only have average diplomacy. As far as our stats go, we're very average or cruddy in just about everything. Average stewardship, average diplomacy, and then cruddy martial. I suppose intrigue's about average as well, but martial and learning are just garbage. We are not we're not a very learned character. So yeah, let's go ahead and send off the proposal. Of course, he's going to accept that, and we are married. So that's very, very good. Now let's go ahead and pick a lifestyle. We will be doing it in the stewardship, which we haven't done stewardship in this campaign yet. So with the stewardship, we have 3 lifestyle focuses here. We got the wealth focus, domain focus, or duty focus. So wealth is going to increase our income, does not increase our stewardship at all. So that's what's important here. Domain focus will give you +3 stewardship, which means you can rule 1 more domain holding, which as of right now, we already have a domain holding open up that we can do. So this would give us another one. We'll be able to manage two more counties from what we have. Or we could do duty focus. The bonds of loyalty that bind us do not constrict, they show the way. Enemy agent acceptance is -5 here. Stewardship is only increased by 1. And then we get some opinion bonuses with people in our court. So which one? Again, we don't pick this based on what we get from them. We pick them based on what our character would pick. And as an arbitrary, arrogant, impatient person, what would we pick here? We would not pick duty focus. I don't think he's focused on his duty. I don't see that. I think it's either wealth or domain. He's not exactly greedy. Yeah, I suppose you can go for either. There's not really anything indicating that we'd go for either one of these. Stewardship does increase the amount of wealth you get, and plus it lets you hold another county, so I suppose we'll go for that one. So let's select that, and then we'll have to figure out which tree we want to go down, but that will likely be next episode because we only have a little bit time left for this episode. We do have to name our dog. We finished the siege, got some money from that. I'll have to take a look at that here in a minute. I kind of want to finish this war up before we kind of deal with all of our issues, like all those vassals that are currently locked up. As far as the factions go, they are almost up there. Remember, they're trying to replace us for king here because they still have that duke supporting them, unfortunately. And it's a shame. I really thought we would get his opinion up enough where he would drop his support for that faction. So as I pet the dog on the head, he happily wags his tail. What name would suit him? Something historical? Something alluding to his black fur? It is an important decision, and as the dog rolls over to let me pet his stomach, I find myself distracted for a while. But wait, I know. His name will be... So we can pick his name here. It's just funny that Adam, this character, is the one that's going to have a pet dog. So let's figure out what we want to name him. We could just spell it out, or we could use one of the names suggested here. And I don't know what we would name him. I almost want to name him after that bully of ours. I think that would be funny. But yeah, maybe he wouldn't do that. I don't know. Is it a boy or a girl dog? I guess we don't know if it's female or male. Oh yeah, his stomach. So it is a male dog. So we need a male name here. I don't really have any names I can think of that I think would be fitting for Adam. You know, we didn't really have any friends or any events that happen in our life that really make good dog names, or at least that I can think of. So we'll just go with one of the names here, Shadow. Wish I had something a little bit more original, but yeah, I couldn't really think of anything. And it's unfortunate this isn't a stream, or else you guys could have posted some suggestions below. So we could go after another fort, and I suppose we should, since with this seizing of the capital here, we're down to 53%. So yeah, we'll go after another point. What I would really like to do is have them attack when they're going across the strait here. So that would be the best way if they're going to come over here, to move here so they attack us as soon as they go across the strait. So yeah, let's see if we can't get there in time to get the bonus that you get from them attacking across the strait. They probably won't, which means we might be able to keep them from coming over here and stopping us from taking all their stuff. So let's go and take these guys and send them to the next location. Again, should probably take locations that are easier. So we'll go after that. And then we have the wedding celebration. With my marriage to Queen... Oh, I didn't realize that was her name. So probably Dubgila. Yeah, that's what I would say. I'm probably mispronouncing, and because it's our wife, and I should be pronouncing it right. So if you know the proper pronunciation of this name, Dubgila, then let me know down in the comments below. If nobody posts anything, I'll look it up. Google sometimes is wrong though, so but I'll just go with what Google says. So Dubgila, she with their marriage to her, the realm expects us to throw a suitably extravagant wedding celebration. It is well within my right to collect a royal aid duty. We've seen this many times, so we can choose money, or we can choose prestige. This is a guy who wants money. Again, he's not greedy, but at the same time, as an arbitrary person, I feel like he would collect the money here. So yeah, we'll take the money. We're doing very good on money. Do we have anything we can build? So we could do another castle here. This would be in Brentford, or we have a location here where we could do a castle. And then there's also a location right here where we could do a castle. And you know what? I'll wait until to hear you guys' opinion. I don't think we'll do one down here just yet. We should keep it inside of our capital duchy. So yeah, I'll wait to hear what you guys say. Where do you want me to build the next castle, guys? Post it down in the comments below, and that's where we'll build it. For right now, we'll just sit on the money, with the exception of building, constructing new buildings, if there's any openings left, which I don't think there is. No, because we don't have the duchy title there. Actually, would need to create that duchy title in order to be able to do that. We could hold a feast, though. We're not a character who wouldn't hold a feast. Yeah, definitely not. So let's go and do that. That'll also reduce our stress. That'll be helpful. And most importantly, it's going to make our vassals like us, something that, any new ruler would find to be a good thing. So we're going to say, welcome, friends, and we'll see how this feast goes. So, where's his army at? Yeah, he doesn't even want it. Yep, he's not interested. And we can't sit here without gaining any attrition, so we can just completely block him from coming over here. Now, he'll just siege down that province, which will be an issue. Is it in the hills? It is. I think we're just going to go battle him, guys. I know we don't have as many troops. I'm just going to take it. And yeah, I feel like we'd be able to win. So yeah, let's just go after him here. And we might not even need to, because we're getting pretty close to having this war being over. So we got this siege here going. Let's go and go after the next province. I suppose we'll go after this one. It's level 4. And we'll see if we can't get the battle started here. The conversation partner. As one plate of food is replaced by the next, my steward, the Duke, goes on and on about trade routes. And so we can say, no, please go on. And we say, have an interesting conversation. Or we say, why don't we talk more about you instead? I mean, I kind of want to be rude here. I find myself wanting to say something really arrogant to this guy, but that's not an option. Yeah, I suppose we'll just say this. Neither one really feels like it fits with our character. Yes, I did forget that we could start romancing these ladies here. Both of them are now of age, excuse me. So we could spend our swaying, because we haven't even done that yet. We could try and sway some of our powerful nobles, like get them out of factions and stuff. That would be the wise thing to do. That's what a good ruler would do. But Adam's not a good ruler, so he's more concerned about himself here. And so we're going to seduce this character, Adriana. We haven't forgot about her. We have a 0% chance of success because she's humble. She doesn't like us. So no point on going after her then. So we might as well just go ahead and, yeah, we'll just get rid of her here. Unpin her, and instead we'll go after our cousin. See if we have a better chance there. We do not. These ladies are loyal. Alright. I think they just don't like our impatience. That seems to be we're getting a big hit from that. A little bit surprised. It seems that we're going to have some trouble romancing people. Alright, so forget about both of them then. Never mind. We won't do that. Okay. So instead, I suppose we'll sway characters, because why not? I suppose it makes sense to do that. Who do we want to sway first? We still have to deal with these vassals locked up, but we'll do that next episode, guys, because this one's coming to an end. I was trying to finish the war, but I don't think that's going to happen, guys, before we end here. So yeah, we'll just have to sway. We'll just sway somebody. Again, I suppose we'll go after people who are in our currently in our council. Probably be the best options here. Like maybe getting this guy to like us more. Yeah, he doesn't like us at all. This guy's not a powerful vassal, so I'm not too worried about improving relations with him. We'll do this guy first. We have a 91% chance of success. Alright, guys. So, again, I was trying to, tastefully insulting. I was trying to get this war done with before we ended the video, but I don't think that's going to happen. As plate after plate of food is brought into the Great Hall, an unmistakable smell reaches me. I smile. That my useless vassal, Countess Geetha, is sensitive to coriander. It is something I sadly forgot to tell the cook. I bid you all welcome. I pray you'll find the food to your liking. So we say, especially to you, Geetha, and then she'll get the bad reaction to food, and we might form a rivalry with her. Like I say, her face, as I savor from the food, is definitely to my liking, and we'll get a weak hook on her. I think we'd probably enjoy this. We'd do that. So she dislikes us because of that. Now, We do have a rival, but that rival is not our bully. It is in fact the Duke here, which, if you guys noticed, you know, with him being our rival, it would actually be a really good thing to do anything mean to him, because he's a rival, so we get stress reduction from doing mean stuff to him. So we could torture him. We'd have to spend 100 piety to do that. We'd gain 19 dread. What's our current dread? 71. So we could do that. And of course he would not like us, as you'd expect. But yeah, we lose stress and gain dread. So quite helpful. At the cost of piety, which we kind of have plenty of. So that'd be one choice. Or we could just straight up execute the guy. I don't know who his heir is. Oh, his heir is, in fact, his brother, I think. Yeah, that's his brother, who's already the Earl here, so he'd get all of his brother's lands, which is just the Duchy of Cornwall title, and the Earldom there. So this would gain us 26 dread, so we'd get a lot more. We'd only have to spend 100 piety, and we'd gain prestige and lose stress, because he's a rival. So I think we will go ahead and behead this guy, simply because he's a rival. I don't remember why he's a rival. I think it had to do with an event that fired. So let's execute him. So he's dead, and now his brother's taken over, and his brother is more powerful overall and hates us. Absolutely hates us, because we unlawfully executed his family. So he's not happy about that. He was a rebel. I don't see how that's unlawful. Yeah, I don't understand that, but whatever. Our dread is now at 97. So let me just take a look at the factions. Looks like they're still going to be around. We didn't do enough to... Oh, nope. We terrified her, so she should leave. At the very least. So yeah, we also reduced all of our stress. We were extremely stressed out. Between that and the feast, we no longer have that issue. We have finished up the high tents here. I think we can upgrade those. So let's go and do so. Get more levies, improve our troops, our men-at-arms. My guests depart. With everyone headed for their respective homes, I'm proud to say that the feast was a success. My wife, Dubgilla, to thank for much of its success, I feel nothing but gratitude as she sees the last few guests off. Okay. And our cousin was slain in battle. Okay, he's a Prince of France as well. Interesting. So yeah, let's go ahead and attack here now, because they are locked. They can't leave. So we'll do this one battle, and then that'll unfortunately be the end of the episode. That might be the end of the war, though. Yeah, if we win this, which I assume we will. Oh, we didn't get him. Alright, what about here? And we would be defending there. Can we catch him? It's hard to say. Looks like we did catch him. Alright, so we're doing a big battle here between their main army and our main army. We were also able to complete the siege. That wasn't quite enough, but I think this battle will be enough, so I'm not even going to bother moving them. Because once this battle's over, the siege should end. We actually won both of those sieges. Fantastic. So yeah, I do expect this to hit it to 100%. Yes, sir. And we also captured the Duke here. Okay, lovely. So that went quite well, and we're at 100%. So the war is over now. So now we're just going to wait until... Well, I guess we'll take a look at the actual battle, see who served us well. We only took 311 casualties to their 2,100, so pretty darn good overall. Those are our soldiers. Let's take a look at the knights. 51 kills here by the Earl. Wow. He's the Earl of this province. We appointed him to that one, or we didn't. I don't know if we did that. I think our father did that. Yeah, our father, I think, appointed him. Henry did 15 kills, or excuse me, he did 35 kills. Okay. Knud did 23. We don't know who the majority of these knights are. Let's take a look at the events and see who they killed. So he killed a count. And it looks like that's it. Just kind of wounded a few other knights. Alright, good job, guys. Proud of you. We won the battle. So let's let this war finish. Since that's the last thing I kind of wanted to do here in the episode. Any day now. There we go, victory. Alright, so with that victory, we gained some fame and some opinion with our father-in-law. Yeah, we got plus 95. He's also terrified of us. Everybody's terrified of us. Even our wife is terrified of us. Everybody is. So we now gotten a little bit of fame, not much, but we're almost there towards getting the next level, which remember we want for the ability to found our new empire. We still need one more county, and then we have to form those other two kingdoms, and then that is all. And then we'll be will be ready. We could go on a hunt. Definitely see it as something we might want to do. And we can pet our dog. That's always something you can do to reduce some of your stress. You can only do it every 5 years, so you don't get to pet your dog very often. So it might be something we want to do if we ever find ourselves at a very high level of stress. So we have a lot of prisoners to deal with, guys. Quite a few. 19 prisoners in our dungeon. So we're going to deal with these in the next episode. We'll go through all the prisoners and determine what we're going to do with all of them. So some of them we might execute, others we will just get hooks on them, and then the rest we'll ransom them off, and maybe we even keep some of them in there. Ones that we know are going to be like a constant issue, perhaps we'll just keep him in there. He's an arbitrary lord, so has no problem with keeping people in his prison forever, if need be. So that's an option as well for certain powerful nobles that we know are just going to be constant issues. Perhaps this guy, though he doesn't necessarily have to be an issue. Just because he's an issue for our father, as he's terrified. So yeah, a lot of different choices. What we can do with all those, we'll have to go through them in the next episode. I'm doing great on prestige though. Adam's, 16 years old and already so much prestige. Helping out in that crusade was a big part of that. We also have the ability to spend our renown, so we'll have to do that next episode as well, which we can get the next level here in glory, or maybe it makes sense to get something else, which we could get like one of them or even get two of them, whatever really fits for our character. Again, that's really how we're basing this, not necessarily going after the one that makes the most sense, which is typically to go down one line because they can get very powerful on some of these, but we don't have to go down that route. We can go down any of these, whatever makes sense for that current character who's spending the renown. So yeah, we'll look through these and determine what makes sense for King Adam II. I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. We didn't make it that far time-wise. Again, we did have that big old discussion in the beginning and had a lot of things come up overall. A lot of things we dealt with over the course of this episode. So yeah, not many years, but I think we did get a lot done. And we're in a much different position now than we were at the beginning of the episode. Much more stable position, I'd say, overall. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. I do hope to see you guys on the next episode, and thanks for watching.